This story is unfortunate and we need to talk about it. A 25-year-old Instagram model by the name of Safina Diamond brutally murdered a Canadian ex-boyfriend by stabbing him multiple times over his face and his torso, and then dumping his body 24 hours later outside our own apartment near his vehicle before calling a police friend to tell him that it was self-defense. When the police friend arrived at her place, she wasn't there, but his body was outside, and obviously from the look of things, her friend realized that this was much more than what it seems. At first, when the story broke out, it wasn't really adding up. But right now, it seems as though we may now have an idea as to what really happened to Frank Kofi Osas. Was this a premeditated murder, or was she really defending herself from being raped when she stabbed him to death? Before we continue, don't forget to like and share. So Safina Diamond, who they say is a 25-year-old musician or slay queen, used to be the ex-girlfriend of Frank. They dated in the past, but eventually they ended their relationship and Frank moved on to get married to another woman, even having kids with the other woman. Frank, they said, did not base in Ghana. He stayed in Canada, but he visited from time to time to spend time with his family. And a few weeks before the incident occurred, it was said he just returned from Canada, and as usual, he was spending time with his family. The same thing they said he was doing on the 24th of July 2022. He was hanging out with his wife and kid, with family and friends, when all of a sudden his phone started buzzing. They said his phone was ringing consistently, and according to a friend who was close to Frank at the time, he said that the person calling was Madam Safina, and when he picked the call, it was said she asked to see him, that it was urgent, that it was important, that they needed to see and talk before he goes back to Canada. Although some sources have claimed that he was the one who set up the meeting for the two of them, that they had already talked about it online and that they were going to meet up or hook up before he leaves. That is what some sources are claiming. However, some other sources, which is like most sources, are going with the story that she was the one who requested to see him urgently. And so it was said that Frank dropped his wife and children off at their house and then drove to go and see Safina in her own apartment. Unfortunately, this would be the last time his family would see him alive. So when Frank got to Safina's house, that is where the story begins. Unfortunately, we do not know what went down in the house right before she stabbed him to death. But this is what we do know. She was not alone. There was an accomplice with her, another young man by the name of Michael, who sources say is her current boyfriend. After she had stabbed him multiple times on the face, stomach, and other parts of his body, she and the Michael decided to clean up the blood from the entire apartment. However, they stayed with the body for 24 hours inside that apartment. I guess this time they were trying to figure out what to do or who to call. It was the next day, early in the morning, that Safina and her accomplice dragged Frank's body downstairs to where his vehicle was, before cleaning up the blood on the staircase. Then her accomplice ran away, and she too called her police friend before running away. Eventually, the police caught up with her and she was arrested and dragged to court, where she claimed that Frank tried to rape her and that she was fighting him back when she stabbed him multiple times, leading to his death, before calling her friend, the so-called Michael guy, to help dispose of the body and figure out what to do. A lot of people don't believe her. They say she's lying, although other people have said that she might be telling the truth, citing that Frank is a married man and that he shouldn't be with an ex-girlfriend while on vacation with his wife. So at this point, we don't know what the truth is. The case is currently in court, and so we would have to wait for the court judgment to see whether she was guilty or whether she was really defending herself. But if we are going to talk about it, we may want to consider some facts. First thing first, for me to say that she deliberately murdered him, I would want to know a motive. Like, what would she stand to gain? It's not as if they stole his money or they robbed his vehicle or they collected something from him after they had killed him, which to me makes me want to believe that it could have been self-defense, seeing that they did not take anything. Usually, if this was supposed to be like a premeditated murder, I would expect her to have at least stolen his money, collected his credit card, robbed his car, gained something from it. Unless, of course, maybe this was some kind of revenge that she was holding a grudge against him for, probably dumping her and getting married to someone else. That could also be a motive, so they need to check their past relationship and know how their relationship ended, if it was in good terms or in bad terms. Understanding how their relationship was in the past might help the police know a motive that would have warranted her to want to kill him now. They could also check their chat conversations and see what it was like, because she was saying that they had an argument and they were going back and forth and he tried to force her, and then she refused and stabbed him. And talking about the stabbing, the way it was said that they really brutalized this man, it seemed very personal to me, I'm not gonna lie. It's giving me the Chidinma Super TV CEO scenario. It was brutal, and it's not just in one spot of his body, basically every part of his body. If he was trying to force his way on you, one stab would have been enough to weaken him and you can run out. No offense, ma, but you did not need to stab him the way you did. It doesn't seem like self-defense when you look at the condition of his body after he was found dead. It seemed like a massacre, which is why many people are believing that she did not do it alone, and maybe that her accomplice boyfriend was also among, which is giving me the feeling that they probably wanted to rob him and he was fighting back and they both jumped on him and then realized that he didn't even have cash or any money with him, and before they knew that, okay, they should just call the police because, you know, their plan has fluttered. And again, like I said, when you have to do this kind of thing to a grown man like this, you should know damn well if this man was standing still and he was able to defend himself, she would have at least sustained a little injury. It looks to me that they drugged him, hoping to rob him, and that did not work because he was most likely trying to fight his way out, and that is when the stabbing happened. And so if she did it all by herself, then it's unbelievable. It may not be self-defense after all. It looked like they had a mission and they had a poor plan to it. Or maybe the plan that they were having did not go as they wanted. In one end, I want to see it as self-defense due to the fact nothing was stolen or robbed from him. In another hand, the manner in which he was brutalized seemed a little personal to me, seemed a little defenseless. Seems like there could be more to the story than what it seems. And this is all I have to say regarding it, so we'll just have to wait for the court to decide whatever it is may have happened to him. However, you guys do let me know what you think about this story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And should there be any update, I will be happy to update you guys, so stay following this page and stay liking this page. Also, don't forget to tell me what you think about this case.